Okay, here we are, and first of all I must excuse me for our last film coming out this late, and I think doing this serious pattern of the month for 4 years. It's the first time we're late, but I went to Canada and some of the files were missing, and we shot the film a month ago, but still it had to wait for me to come home. Hopefully you got it and you tied your plush wings and that you are happy with them. Today I'm gonna do something different. I think this is our 52nd film in our series, and those of you who follow us on social medias, you've seen we've been to Canada. And in this little film, the first sequences are from the magnificent Bonaventure River on the Gaspé Peninsula, known to be one of the clearest rivers in the world. What flies to fish in really clear water? On the Bonaventure, we fish most of the time, or almost all the time, on the surface with full floaters and dries and skaters, either free drift or skating or drift or hitching, and that's the method. But a little colder water and still the clear visibility, you need to fish a fly that comes down a bit. And what is the most effective way of doing this? I think in clear water, like what you've seen, the best is to try to make the fly disappear. The fly, you could say that it's better to fish a smaller fly, but still, I think it can be really, and I know as a fact, it can be really effective to fish a little bigger flies, but tied in a way that they actually disappear. And today I'm not gonna tie this. I'm gonna tie a stealth samurai. This is our gray and green samurai. Just tied a few of those. But we're gonna tie a stealth samurai, and today we're gonna tie with one of our new colors of tubing. Gonna use the pearlescent one, and in the artificial light it doesn't look that pearlescent, but it is. I'm gonna start with the extra small, and I will tie on a BTT or a TTT. Let's tie this on a TTT. I use a lot of TTTs on floaters or on intermediates, just in the fast water to make the fly start fishing. Okay, so I'll take the extra small, I melt it a bit, and I pull it on with the TTT. Today I'm gonna use also our stealth thread. It's almost invisible, very flexible thread. I think it's good when you tie this kind of flies. We're gonna make a quite simple but also very translucent fly that is gonna blend in. I found a piece of hair, very gray hair, and here I think the most important is that you have a piece of hair that is very translucent, and I'm gonna brush it through, make sure I untangle it, and I'm gonna tie it in against the TTT. And as you can see, this is gonna be a fairly big fly, but there are very few strands. And I move it towards the cone or the TTT, move the thread, and I put the wing quite much on the top. Make sure it's just a little bit spread to get a little bit of extra volume to it. Then I cut this off, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of pearlescent angel hair, and see where we have it. And these ones, on a fly like this, you have to be really careful. You take a little bit too much and it's gonna dominate the fly totally. Few strands, 3 or 4, tie them in, double back, and it's like with all flash, it's really easy to pull away a few strands afterwards when you look at the fly. Actually, I think it's quite strange that you see people, they put a lot of effort in tying their flies in the vise and then they tie them on and throw them out. Come on now, you need to swim your fly and have a look and see how it really behaves. Some flies will be on the side a little bit. Some flies have too much flash and you pull away a few strands. Very often there is one strand that is too long and you will have to take it away afterwards. Here I find one long one and I can take it away now. Or is it one more? Yeah, one more. Okay, and then I'm gonna just take a little piece of black straight hair, and I think I put it right here, and I use our almost monkey hair, and I'm gonna take very few strands just to create a little back, you could say, on the fly. Pull it out, always brush through. Look how much it is. Too much? Maybe. So I'll take away a few more strands. Very few, still a couple of millimeters wide when I tie it in. Put it on top, make sure these strands are equally long, or better, a little bit longer than the gray hair before I tie them in. Look at that. See, I have a few that's coming down here. Normally when I have this, it's the thread pulling them down. I take this and I hold them and I just pull them out. Okay, very thin fly. Okay, jungle cock, pick a light one. Our jungle cock is soon out, and on the light, in our series there is one we call natural light, especially for flies like this. I use the original feather here. I do, of course, one with Citus, and I form them and start tying in the one that's on my side here. Just a few turn of thread. I'm a bit sloppy here because I should have taken that away before, but you that follow me know that I think it's always better to try to be accurate the way that you actually clean up between every material you tie in. So I take the next one, form it a little bit over my thumbnail, hold it in, make sure it's just as long as the other one I tied in, make sure I get it down on the side so it's not sitting too much on top of the fly. If you do that, it's gonna spread out, and on some flies it can be good to have the jungle cock spreading out because they are seen better from the fish perspective down here, but since I want this to be a very slim fly, I don't do that. Okay, Sorry for maybe you don't recognize my voice. I have this terrible cold. I came home from Norway last night with this cold, and been fishing a month now with a few fish, but not many. Okay, anyway, here we go. Wing jungle cocks are ready. So now I'm gonna build this up a little bit like I do with the samurais. So I'm gonna go straight on the dubbing part and see what we have here. I can do a little bit of, thought I put some glitz here. Glitz or dubbing, it's up to you. There you go, thank you. You can do a few turns of the glitz dubbing, but you can also do the regular dubbing, depending on how much volume you want the fly to have. Here you can see the advantage with the stealth thread, because I put this very translucent fibers on here and they just disappear. Sometimes it's nice to have a fluorescent green thread and you put this translucent fibers on there, and you will end up with the colors shining through the dubbing. We actually do only two fluorescent threads, the orange and the chartreuse, and the reason is that I don't use techniques like this in other colors than that. Okay, and build this up a little bit, don't be too shy. Better to put a little bit extra on than to have too little. Take your thread down on the extra small. Since I'm getting old and it's getting more important to be accurate, time to change glasses. Should have done it from the start, but here we go. So I take my brush and I hold in this and I brush this out. Just use the dubbing brush to make these fibers be quite long. And the thing here is that, as I said, we want to create a very translucent fly. So with a few of these fibers slimming back together with this, we get a little bit of sparkle, but we also get a very translucent fly. Okay, hackles. I can fish this like this, but I can also add a little bit of hackle, and I actually found tip on my desk here from gray ostrich. Most of the time actually I use other feathers, but I'm gonna use this little piece of ostrich here, and I strip off one side. Look at the length of the fibers, so I get the length of the fibers I want to tie in. Quite few fibers. Hold back and cut it off and create that little triangle that I tie in. And doing this here, it's good to use a plier. I've been bragging about our hackle plier before because it's so heavy that you can do this, you can do a turn and you can leave it, and the weight will hold the feather in place. I think 2 turns of this will be absolutely perfect. Tie it in. If I have a few extra fibers there, there's 2 things I can do. I can take these and I can press them down and fold them in and get extra fibers on this. I can of course do just one more turn, but here it's always like this. When you fish this super clear water, you're gonna end up with too much material. You want this to be super light and slim and disappear in the water. Hackles, okay? In our packs, because there's going to be packs of course, we will have a plain gray one. But I actually was looking and I found a couple of interesting necks here, and one is a little lighter, one is a little darker. I would on this one just take a regular fiber from one of these. See if I can find a soft one with quite long fibers, and I'm gonna tie in just a couple of turns of this just to create a little bit of drop form. This is a very slim fly here, but I want a little bit of drop form. So I do this, make sure I keep the very soft part. And since I'm on the extra small tubing, I need a very short piece of feather to do 2 turns here. So I do this. Normally I do only this with my fingers, but since I'm bragging on this, I better use it, right? So take this, hold it in, and double this back by holding all the fibers on the piece you tie in, fold them back, and one more turn. Tie it in. And when I use thread, I normally use 3 to 6 turns of thread on every material I tie in. Does it look good? It looks very sparse to me, but I think it looks really good. This is what I'm aiming for. Okay. Organizer full of candy. I take a extra small, micro silver one, put it on, take a little bit of glue, and I use support by one finger, put the glue a little bit away from the soft hackles. Hold this, take the thread and pick up the glue. You can do 2 or 3 turns there, and if you just wait a second, you feel it, it's already set. Pull down the cone tight. I take the fly out of the vise. Hold back the hackles, use support with my fingers, and I cut it about 3 mil. Hold it up, light fly, lighter, and melt it. Very little bit at a time like this. Get a good little piece of tubing, and holding it up makes me get a nice hold for my leader. Okay, so did it turn out good? I think it turned out good. You can see it's very slim fly, and it's in the colors that will blend in with just a little black on top. And I will fish this loose on the leader. I will fish it most of the time with a bare plastic medium as a steering for holding my hook, but I also fish them like this. And I can use again the new tubing. I will just take a small part and put it on. Let's do it with the cone. It looks nicer. It doesn't really matter because the cone will disappear into the TTT. Press this up, take this, a little bit of thread, Put the thread on over the part I've been cutting. Move the thread back a bit. Take a mirage. Here we go. Normally I cut these when I get them. I take my scissors up here and I cut them off. And if you cut them off, you can just pull one out. Almost done already. So I do this, tie in the mirage over the pearl colored tubing, few turns, back down the mirage, and I turn it, make sure I have 5-6 millimeters to set the hook in. Tie this in. Cut off and take some, I can keep on doing the dubbing or glitz, depends on how bulky you want the fly to be. Just spin this on. The dub is easy, the only thing is to think about that you press your fingers hard together and that you do it at one same turn, so you don't put this on and off and on and off. It's better to do it one way like this. A little short here. Here we go, and I do this, I build this up and I move the thread down with 1 or 2 turns right down to the extra small tubing. I need a little more here. And the good thing is that if I put on too much, I just brush it out. So I tie this in once again down in my box and pick up extra small, put it on again, a little glue right a little bit away from the materials, pick it up, 1, 2, 3, hold it and cut, pull it down tight, take it out, do the same, use support, melt it. Sometimes you also burn a few of these fibers, it doesn't really matter. There you go, a nice hole. What you can do is that you can take this and you can put it back up on the vise if you want. When you brush it, it's easier to have it here. But I want the comb to be there before I start brushing this. And here now I can brush this out quite a bit to get a very translucent fly. If I think I had too much, I can just take the scissors and cut away a little bit. But I think it's quite sexy to have this fibers full of the body, very translucent, also slim down, blend down, too long, like that. And the fly will then slide down onto this, and I'm fixing my hook to be in the middle of the fly like this, just like I want. I can do them longer or shorter. Fishing sea trout, maybe I would like to have my hook back here. I can use just a piece of clear or a piece of pearl and put my hook further back in this fly. And well, did you like it? I think it turned out fairly good. Maybe it's because I speak with you here over the phone and I know that I need to be careful on the amount of fibers to put in, that this fly actually became just as translucent and slim as I want them to be. Again, have a look at the Bonaventure that we are having our little clips from, and you understand why just a few fibers like this will stick out. And of course you can fish this much smaller than this, down to maybe half the length. And what you do is exactly the same, just shorter, fewer, smaller, even more translucent and less visible for the fish in the super clear water. I caught fish on this on the west coast of Norway, in Canada, and also in Iceland. And I hope you, normally I say, hope you dare to do things, hope you dare to be very careful and take very few strands, because I think that's where the success in this fly lies. Okay, so thank you for watching. Those of you who like to have a few of those, we have our packs, monthly packs. Those of you who want to try to tie them, we also have our pattern of the month material packs, and it will be a little different than this, but the idea is just me finding some odd materials I wanted to try. But the purpose of the fly is to make it translucent and with very little visibility for the very clear water. Okay, our 52nd. I was home last night. I am home now for midsummer a couple of days, and then off back to Norway, where unfortunately the fishing has been really poor most places. But we don't give up. It's just to swing your flies, and that's the only way to catch a fish. Thank you again, and in a month's time we're gonna do something different. Thank you.